Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez.
And I'm Kevin Friel. We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You can log on at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
The Barnstable Town Council held a meeting with the Airport Commission to dig deep into the business plan for the proposed construction of a new airport terminal, access road, and air traffic control tower. Here, airport consultant Dan Oaksey delves into the key findings of the business plan.
Our first observations, a year later, and having had a chance to sharpen the pencil and look at the business plan, we would still say that this terminal project is affordable. I think most importantly, this project can be built with no financial impact to the town of Barnstable or its taxpayers. Absolutely no tax dollars necessary to do this project. The airport has historically been self-sufficient, made money as an enterprise fund. That's what it should. And in this business, we would typically say that every airport should be able to make money. And if an airport doesn't, typically that means it's not charging its tenants enough, not recovering fully the cost of services that an airport provides. Most airports should be able to make money. This airport has, as we would expect that it should and would continue. It maintains a very healthy cash surplus, $8.5 million in the bank today. And I have to tell you, my experience at the numbers of places that Bud referenced, that is a very high level of reserves for an airport of this size, a very comfortable safety net, if you will. The airport has no outstanding debt. And another thing with respect to the airport that I don't think comes out in our report as much as it could is in most every community, and I don't believe that Barnstable and Cape Cod and Hyannis, this is an exception, the airport is the largest economic generator of almost any city. That holds true for San Francisco, that holds true for New York, that holds true for Newark, Las Vegas. It holds true for this airport. I would venture to say that the economic impact annually from this airport is well over $100 million, probably closer to a couple $100 million when you look at the numbers of people that are employed, you look at the salaries, you look at cargo, you look at the airfares that are generated. Very significant economic engine and a catalyst to the economy is oftentimes the airport. So I would, if the last thing that I could ever say, it's the last thing on this page, and that is I don't know that there may be a better opportunity. You may have a better opportunity to get this new airport project built, to do this terminal project.
Mr. Oaksey then went into the details of how the town would finance the three projects.
Estimated project cost is about $20 million. And the proposed financing, the majority of the funding comes from the state grant. And one of the things that I think is important to consider with respect to the state grant is over the course of the last couple of years, I don't know any municipality, any city, any county, any town, any state, and then, extrapolating to the federal government. I don't know any government that hasn't been financially stressed. There may be no guarantee that this grant is available in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. Budgets change pretty radically in municipal governments, and I think this is a great opportunity to take advantage of this grant before something may change. So the terminal project can be financed with no financial impact to the town or its taxpayers. $13 million, as shown of the 20, would come from this MassDOT grant. Approximately $3.2 million we would draw down, or it's been programmed that we would draw down from your $8.5 million reserves. And then we've suggested that we would make up the difference with some general obligation bonds, all of which would be paid by passenger facility charges or customer facility charges. Last year, the town implemented a customer facility charge on rental car transactions and is in the process of applying for a passenger facility charge for in-plane passengers, the monies of which would pay for any debt service that's incurred. So it really becomes kind of a revenue neutral deal, and so this entire project can be financed, again, without any taxpayer dollars or without even any operating dollars from the airport.
Revenue sources to support airport operation from now and into the future are the focus of this next clip.
Projected revenues are very conservative because the revenues, many of these are driven by passengers. Parking, rental cars, concessions in the terminal building. There are a number of revenues that are passenger sensitive, driven by revenues So they're very conservative. Fiscal year 2010 provides a really conservative starting point. I do want to talk about the fueling operation. It is a very significant source of revenue. It's a great source of revenue, and the airport is actually fortunate to be in the fuel business. I wish we could get some other airports to do this. You know, some airports contemplate it, some airports share. You guys actually have the luxury of being able to provide this service. It generates really significant revenue, and quite frankly, the airlines in this market have been subsidized by the airport for years. These airlines are smaller, so it's hard to compare them to what we call the legacy carriers of today, the bigger airlines, the Americans, the Uniteds. They run a different type of operation, and they run a different type of service for you guys, but they've never fully paid in rates and charges, in landing fees and space rents. They've never really paid for the total costs of providing those services at the airport. So the airport's done a very good job of running it and being conscious of being cost-effective to the airlines that serve the airport. And this business plan was put together. Again, the Airport Commission was emphatic that we tried to put a deal together that wasn't going to be on the backs of the airlines.
After the 40-plus minute business plan presentation ended, Town Councilor Henry Farnham asked about the permitting of the project.
Thank you, Mr. President, and if you could indulge me, this is a workshop on your business plan, but I'm just curious, how are we doing with the permitting and all? I know you had to go back with a modification and the road situation. If you could just touch on that for us.
Yes, sir. We had a hearing before the Cape Cod Commission Regulatory Committee on Monday, in which we had submitted 3 applications for DRI modifications. One was for the air traffic control tower, and that was approved as a minor modification. And we did make some minor changes to the plans that we had given you before. We're now on Plan F, which cleaned up the lines a little bit, made it more in keeping with the local character, as was requested by the town and by the Cape Cod Commission. And there was, I believe, a condition that we come back to them at some point just with the materials and the colors. But otherwise, it was approved as a minor modification. It only requires staff approval, so that was a good thing for us to move forward. The second application was for an extension of the time requirement for a development agreement, which originally was 3 years from the date of the DRI or a year from the time that we had the airport layout plan approved. We've exceeded both of those dates. They've agreed that that would be a minor modification, and we're going to be working with them on that date. No date specific. That is currently underway, where it's an immediate follow-on to the master plan. And the third item was the access egress road, and it was pretty much unanimously agreed that that would be considered as a major modification, and the first hearing, I believe, was around the 1st of April. And we have, since then, we have submitted a notice of project change to MEPA, and we are submitting our application to the Cape Cod Commission to keep moving this forward.
The project will be before the Town Council in April. At that meeting, they will determine if they will go forward with funding the project. Now let's take a look at this week's remaining meeting schedule. Also at 7 o'clock, the Waterways Committee meets in the Selectmen's Conference Room. Wednesday, March 24th at 6 o'clock, the Zoning Board of Appeals amnesty hearings takes place in the Town Hall hearing room. At 7 o'clock, the Zoning Board of Appeals meets in the Town Hall hearing room. Also at 7 o'clock, Old Kings Highway meets at the Route 149 Community Building in West Barnstable. On Thursday, March 25th, the Town Council meets in the Town Hall hearing room at 7 o'clock.
Well, that's all we have for now. For Kevin Friel, I'm Nick Cortese. We'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.